Good morning. It is Tuesday, March 30th. And since it is Tuesday, I'm bringing you my album review, which I don't know if you guys are digging them or not. I am. So this week's is a brand new release. Literally just came out. And this is called Smith Kotzen. Adrian Smith, who was a guitar player for Iron Maiden, and Richie Kotzen, who is one of my favorite guitar players, singers, overall musicians of really of least recent memory. The guy is sick. His voice sounds a lot like Chris Cornell. He plays incredibly. He first came to prominence. The first time I ever heard of him was on the Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey soundtrack. He had a song, Dream of a New Day. And then he got the gig replacing CeCe DeVille and Poison for their Native Tongue album, which is my favorite album of theirs. And I think a lot of it is because of Richie, but they kicked him out because, frankly, I think he was just too talented. But he's had a varied and assorted solo career, worked with a lot of different people. He did a couple progressive jazz albums with Stanley Clarke. The guy is sick, but recently he's kind of re-emerged as a lead singer, guitar player with the Winery Dogs. That band also includes Billy Sheehan and Mike Portnoy. Billy Sheehan, Mr. Big. He was in David Lee Ross' Eat 'em and Smile band, as well as being a famous session musician and probably just one of the best bassists ever. Mike Portnoy, one of the best drummers ever. He was in Dream Theater. But this album, Smith Kotzen, is just chock full of good, sophisticated rock. Just these are two master guitarists just doing what they do, having fun. This isn't like an album that you would think maybe like a Joe Satriani or Steve Vai or Eric Johnson, something like that, where it's just all shredding. They actually composed an entire album with they both sing, they both play all the instruments and everything. It's just fantastic, and I can't recommend this enough. I'm probably listened to this thing over half a dozen times, and I'm just the biggest fan of Richie Kotzen. Adrian Smith, actually, like I said, a guitar player for Iron Maiden, which is easily one of the most popular and easily one of the most influential heavy metal bands of all time. And on the onset, the two pairing those two may not work or may not sound like it would work, but it does. And what happened is that I guess Richie is neighbors with Adrian Smith when he lives in America. And what happened is Adrian's wife was a huge fan of Richie. They would hang out, go to dinner, so on and so forth. And one day they started jamming. They said, hey, we should do an album. So with the world being tortured and imprisoned falsely for last year's chicanery and everything that happened, these guys put the time to good use and made this album. Now, this is a CD version because I am old school, but they have a really beautiful red vinyl edition. You can find it, pick it up. It's great. Of the 9 songs on here, there isn't a stinker. This is just a consistent, great album. I hope there are more to come. I don't know if there will be, because both of these guys, obviously, Iron Maiden's popular band worldwide. Kotzen, not only does he do his own thing, but I know he does a lot of guest musician stuff and writes, and he's just always busy. But this is a good album. You can't go wrong. I highly recommend this, Smith Kotzen. Make sure you subscribe. We're on Rumble, YouTube, our Flawedcast is anywhere you can listen to podcasts, Flawedcast CLE. You can find everything flawedinc.com. But seriously, go and pick this up today, whether it be the vinyl, whether it be the CD, whatever it is. Get this album. If you're a fan of old rock, not old rock, but like this classic rock, if you're a fan of just rock in general, there's some songs that sound kind of grungy. There's some songs that sound bluesy. This is just like an overall great rock album, and it's so good. It's so refreshing because there's so few rock albums that are coming out. You know, I grew up at a time when like guys like this actually had to play. It wasn't based on computerization and syncopation with mechanical beats and stuff. Like, these guys are true artists, true musicians, virtuosos at their instruments, great singers. In my opinion, Kotzen's better. Sorry. But Adrian Smith really isn't known as a singer. He's known as a guitar player. So nonetheless, get this album, and when you do, get in the arena.